Good morning.
Good morning.
We got
How come the big boys are not here?
I don't know.
Like the ones who do the
I know. They're probably sleeping because it's spring break.
I know this song.
I mean, like, to, like, you stretch and then.
Yeah. You stretch you and you don't get.
Anita, you might want to mute.
Well, I will in a second. I'm dropping the grandkid off for gymnastics, and I want to see where you guys are to start. So I'll do it in a second. But you don't like hearing all the kids getting ready for gymnastics? I'm gonna go see so I can do my meeting, okay?
Huh?
I'm gonna go see so one meeting. I'll be right there to get you, and I'll be back there and watch you go as fast.
Can somebody remind me what the mute button is?
Star 9? Star 6. Star 6.
Star 6. Thank you.
Very good.
That was Shepro.
Oh, okay.
I have 9:01 a.m. I'd like to call to order the King County Finance and Budget Committee for Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. We have roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby here.
Lewis,
Lewis here.
Sanchez,
Sanchez present.
Surges,
Present.
Pepe,
Pepe here.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Berman.
Berman's here.
Okay.
We have approval of minutes from the February 28th.
Mr. Chair, I ask for unanimous consent for approval of the minutes.
Is there any opposition? I would declare unanimous approval. Public comments. I have no knowledge of any public comments. Moving on. Treasurer's report, Mr. Lawson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I submitted the treasurer's report 7 to 10 days ago, and so you'd have it in your package. I'd be happy to answer any questions. There's always a concern and question whether our investments are, safekeeping, and they certainly are because of conservative state statutes and county ordinances, and then our typical practices. Just a couple of examples of that is that we hold our bonds typically, not always, but typically until maturity. We have bank requirements for collateralizing what they hold. They have to have backup. And then with a county government, with any government, once the money comes in, folks don't get it back. So there's no like run on deposits because people don't have any claims on those. Next item, about a month ago, I made the decision to have a third-party custodial accounts for our brokers. We have 3 brokers that we've used to purchase bonds in the past. And rather than have those remain in the hands of the brokers, one more step in case there's ever any problem with any of our brokers is to have them third-party secured. So out of the hands of brokers where something could go wrong, like Lehman Brothers, a couple of other examples. And then finally, about 2 weeks ago, I just went through the process of calling some of our banking partners to ask them if they were maximizing the amount of interest that we could earn on cash and near cash accounts. And everybody was very helpful, cooperative, raised it. We made an extra approximately $100,000 to $150,000 a year as a result of those telephone calls. So they increased the interest rate, just again, asking the question, making sure that they're making the market. And that's all I have.
Very good. Any questions of our treasurer? Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Finance Director, Erica Wagner.
Is that better? Yes.
There you go.
Okay. The various finance reports are in your agenda packet. Just some highlights that I want to point out today. As you're well aware, we're still in our FY22 audit process. This is the last week of the final fieldwork stage of the audit, where we have our audit team with us 100% of the time, dedicated to us. We do have some significant entries still to be made, and we'll be, just trudging through that, working through that as we go forward. And they're working with us on those to maximize their work on the audit as well as ours. So that's really needs to remain our primary focus until we get that completed for fiscal year 22. The biggest and most significant item we have as the finance department on today's agenda is the resolution for the preliminary estimate of the FY22 revenue over expenditures. And this is basically a housekeeping item that's done every year. Typically, it would have been done at last month's finance agenda, but we weren't far along enough. So at this point in our audit and closing of the fiscal year, we are showing an excess revenue over expenditure of $10,725,000. So what we need to do, and what this resolution is asking to do, is to be able to allocate that once the final numbers are in to three funds is where I'm proposing. And that's just based on what we've done in the past, the same formula that we've followed for several years. Firstly, we're asking to allocate $500,000 to the Sheriff's Vehicle Equipment Fund. And that's because this is the mechanism that we've used for several years to fund the sheriff's replacement vehicles and similar amounts. So we're going with that number again. And then the remaining 2 items are at this point just a 50-50 split between the capital fund and the property tax freeze protection fund, which is it's basically a reserve fund. The capital fund, because, for many years we've self-funded our capital projects instead of going to a significant amount to the capital budget. And then the property tax freeze protection fund is just, simply we're putting it in reserves to be for future use. So this resolution also asks that as we move forward through the audit process, like any changes that we get, and this number will change, I know that, because we do have some additional entries to make. And there's things, quite frankly, that we're learning every day and discovering as we move through the audit. So based on changes aside that change this figure, will then just be changed in the allocation to the property tax freeze protection fund. And by doing that, I'll obviously bring the final number to you at the end to let you know how it worked out. And just as a point of reference, the reason right now why we're seeing that, that we have that number in excess revenue over expenditures, it's basically a 5% more than budgeted revenue that we've collected and about a 5% less expenditures used than we budgeted. So in the revenues, where we're seeing the most significant changes at this point are increase in sales tax and personal property replacement tax. And in the expenditures, the most significant revenue changes came in the commodities area and then employee benefits and salaries and wages. So I think that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Thank you. For your end allocation, that's item D under new business, so
Yes.
we'll be discussing that, but thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts. So,
Sorry. Moving on to, there's a FY24 budget section under the finance director's area. And that's because at this point of the year, we really need to start building the framework of how we're going to go into the FY24 budget process. First item, this is something that we have done for several years. We asked for the finance committee's consent to request that the FY23 general fund revenue estimates be prepared by the departments and offices and submitted to us. That's kind of the beginning phase of where we see perhaps where estimates may have changed from what's been budgeted in the revenue side for the general fund, and it helps us build where we need to come in on the expense side as well. So we ask for consent to be able to request that.
all right. Do we have a motion to consent to the request for the general fund revenue?
Consensus, a consensus.
You have a consensus? Very good.
Okay, and lastly, there is in your packet a preliminary FY 2024 budget calendar. I switched it up a little bit from what's been done the past couple of years to more mirror last year's process, where the budget presentations were done at the committee level. This is just something I'm asking you to take a look at. I know that in talking to Dale that there perhaps there are some other ideas and things going forward that we might be able to incorporate into this process. So I'll be bringing another calendar next month for approval to distribute. So if we have any changes, we can certainly do that. And really, the reality is this is just the initial framework, trying to make sure that timing wise, we're getting everything done in a systematic way. It's the actual calendar has changed every single year from what we put out, because we have to keep pivoting and making changes. But this is just the preliminary. So please review that. And if you have any ideas of what you think might be different, then we'd be happy to take a look.
Ms. Bates?
I can't remember if this is exactly like last year or not, but it seemed like last year we should have started earlier. So is this moving things up a month or two, or?
We can't
whatever we
really
can
start
do?
earlier just because there's no way, but the review process is starting earlier, yes, than last year. Last year, we started going into it with the same format that we had previously, but then it was kind of a change midway to have the presentations done at the committee level. And so that did start, later. It should have started, I agree, at least a month earlier on that. So yes, we do have that starting earlier on the committee level review process. We'll have to somehow decide how to split it, because the finance department has to do a lot of review of the information before it gets there to make sure that the calculations are actually correct of what you're looking at. And we can't review all the budgets in a month. So I split it between 2 months, and we'll see if, how it kind of pans out and where we are with staffing. And obviously, we really have a massive task to complete FY22 that we have to focus on. So we're going to do our best to incorporate this in and this is just the starting framework. So I'm sure there will be changes, but we have to start somewhere.
Have to do the math.
Any other questions of Erica? The calendar looks good. Mr. Surges,
Anything you need, how you doing?
Hanging in there. So yeah, we're climbing the mountain and chipping away at it, and we'll continue to do that. Very lucky that we have the staff that we do at this point. So yes, we'll get there.
Thanks for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
yeah, we may have some additional help, so we'll see.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I didn't know if this is the right time to ask, but since we're on the finance section, I just was curious to know what the update is on the search for a new executive director of finance. We haven't heard anything recently, or I haven't at least.
well, we're actively seeking, actually, the candidates we don't have a large, large group of candidates, and I don't know how strong they are. I think that we're going out to a national search with maybe with a search firm.
The search firm, did you say?
So that's where we are, but I think candidates are not many and not strong.
I had,
Madam Chair?
Thank you. I know, Mr. Sanchez, that is of great concern to you. We have gotten a packet. I have just gotten a printout of that packet. I'll be looking at the resumes today or this week to see if there's any appropriate candidates. We do, as was mentioned, we looked at the opportunity of having a search firm. That cost was $45,000, which I thought was a large amount. So, but we do have a potential candidate who may come as an intern, but that is yet to be determined. Highly qualified individual, but we have to meet with them, and we'll be scheduling a meeting with them, an interview shortly, because finance department needs some assistance with this. Although they are highly competent and capable, you cannot expect this department, which is small in itself, to be able to do the amount of work that needs to be done properly for this county without some collapsing. So we want to make sure that they are shored up as quickly as possible. And I just want to remind the board, or at least this committee, that a recent report, I believe it was by the Wall Street Journal, says that accountants are losing them. They're leaving the field quickly. I'm not sure why. Perhaps it's too much stress. There's other opportunities for them, but they're a rare breed. So we want to make sure that we get somebody who's solid and effective. But I think we may be able to find somebody to assist us in the meantime.
I don't know, Jamie, do you have any other comments about our selection, our process of looking for executive director?
Who just popped up? There she is.
We do have the job posted on the government jobs site, Indeed, the county's webpage, as well as a professional site that the finance department provided. So we do have it out there. We do have it posted nationally. We have received about 30 applications in, and we're taking a look at those to see if they meet the qualifications that the board is looking at. But again, we did contact a recruitment firm. It was quite expensive. So, the board will have an opportunity to review if they want to take that approach, but it will probably have to be RFP'd because it is over $30,000.
All right, any questions? Ms. Juby?
So am I to understand that the only reason why we decided not to go with a national search firm is because it's approximately $45,000?
That was why we're not doing it at this time. We would have to RFP anything that is over $30,000
Right.
annual expense. So we would have to go through that process, which would also increase the time. Those recruitment firms, what they will do. So I think I think our postings are properly tapping into the job seekers out there. What a recruitment firm could do for you that we are not currently doing is actually reach out to people that aren't currently looking for positions
Right.
based on their qualifications and reach out to them proactively. So that would be whether or not we need to go that extra step. The job's been posted for a little over 2 weeks. As I stated, we do have about 30 applicants to review that I think would be prudent to review our current applicants. And then make a decision on if we need to, because of the high expense, if we want to go that extra step.
Okay, I would think that that would be a high return on our investments. And I don't think that is a high expense, given the level of the job that we're looking for and the potential of what we could be losing if we don't have the right candidate in there. So I agree, you should look through what you have now, but I would not be adverse to going with a nationwide search.
Thank you.
Mr. Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to agree with Ms. Juby and Mr. Sanchez. I think getting a finance director in here is essential as quickly as possible. If we're going to work on the budget, we need to have a finance director. I understand there might be the possibility of an interim person coming in for a while, which may be helpful. But I think the priority is we have to hire a finance director, a permanent one, as quickly as possible. And I appreciate all you've done in looking and sending out the apps and everything else. But I think $45,000, as Ms. Juby said, is a small amount. Who decided not to go this route at this point?
We haven't made a decision. We only just
Decision's not
received
been
this
made.
quote from them on Friday. So we really have not
Okay,
made a decision yet.
Well, I would push that we go with that course of action so that we can hire someone qualified as soon as possible. You know, this whole budget process, which is beginning now, it's going to be very, very hard for board members and a depleted finance department to work on the budget without some direction from a finance director. So I just feel it's very, very important that we do that. I'm not one for spending money, but in this case, I think it would be well worth our while.
So if I may, and not to speak out of turn, please, we've got a process in place that I think is very effective. We may have a highly qualified interim that will come in, but we have to go through the interview process without question. I mean, we can't just hire on the spot. So
I think the timing on this to go out for a request for bid, we're talking, that's going to delay well, we're going to work along with that. But that's going to be at least a 30-day, maybe 60-day process.
And I guess that's really where my problem is, we're 30 days or longer into this process without any, positive hope at this point. So I think the more quickly we can prioritize this, the better.
So let's agree that if this interim is appropriate, that we bring them on board. And that would be quick. We could get that individual in very quickly. And then if this is the will of this committee, we will go out for the RFP because it is over $30,000 and it's mandated. We can make that suggestion, make those decisions, and then bring that forward to this committee, et cetera, for approval to move it forward. And then we can go for the national search, but we will have somebody in place, hopefully, to assist.
Madam Chair, if I could ask one other question. With respect to this interim person, it sounds like this could be a wonderful stopgap for us. Who makes that evaluation on whether or not this person, number one, is qualified and good, and when to hire them?
We have this committee would be put into place, and which is what I'm in charge of. Actually, Mr. Berman, Mr. Leonard, you would be also on that committee to interview that individual. Myself would be, Erica, of course, would be, and Jamie Labrillo.
Well, that's great. I mean, once again, I think there is a sense of urgency. I don't mean to be an alarmist, but I think we do.
And that's why, that's why I asked to see about a search firm. Because we apparently were not getting the kind of results that were needed. So I asked for that opportunity. I was surprised it was at that cost.
Thank you.
The sky isn't falling, but we need to move.
Yes.
I'm Roth here. I had a couple of questions. What's the estimate for making that determination? A week, 2 weeks, a month
Oh,
for the interim?
Well, I believe that individual is available. The resume was just presented to me, to us, I believe, yesterday.
Right.
So it's,
I was just curious,
so hopefully the next couple of weeks, get that
Okay,
individual on
so
board.
2 weeks optimal. Right.
Hopefully.
And then what's the estimate in time it'll take to go through those 30 resumes to determine if there's any value in those resumes?
Pretty easy.
Yeah, Dale and I can manage that.
I think that's pretty easy. You can sort out the qualified
So,
ones you think might be.
This afternoon?
I think.
No, I'm just looking for a time estimate. I'm not going to hold you to it, but
Let's say by the end of the week for sure.
okay, that's all. Thank you.
Today's Wednesday.
Chairman.
Sorry, Jared?
I was gonna suggest that we definitely go after this RFP. And we don't need to wait 30 days to have the RFP out there. I think the minimum is 10 days, if I remember correctly, 10 to 15 days. Jamie, do you have a sense of, we may get 3 different firms to look at, but they'll probably all do similar things. From the one proposal that you received, do you have a sense of how quickly they begin to see some results, knowing all the unknowns are there, but will they be able to get to work right away?
They will be able to get to work right away, but they did provide a timeline that shows that this is not a fast process.
Meaning, like, what's that? That's a relative term.
You know, they gave a timeline in the area of about 6 months.
Uh-huh.
So it really is they're very detailed process from them. So they really, they shepherd the entire process. So it is very comprehensive service for that price, for them to do that. But I don't believe it's going to expedite this to the point where you're going to have someone quickly. I just think that a process to get someone of this qualification is always going to be a thorough process that will take some time.
Yeah, I think, the idea of an interim, somebody who has a high enough level understanding to create some processes here for us and just help carry everybody. Maybe get 1 or 2 other employees at lower levels of finance as well along the way, but then we have this long-term search going really deeply.
We do have a couple of
that's a good
options of
strategy.
people with governmental experience that I think will be an asset to the staff.
Mr. Doherty has his hand up.
I work for a search firm, and I want to make sure I didn't misunderstand you. You told me, did you just say that a search firm said it was going to take 6 months to find somebody?
They provided a timeline that went up to 6 months. They did not quote us on an exact amount of time that they anticipated it would take. Certainly would depend on when we start and when it gets approved, but they included a timeline that went out up to 6 months, but it was not a specific conversation we had.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. 30 days, maybe 60 max. Let's go back and find search firms that actually can do the job. 6 months is ridiculous. We find CEOs faster than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
Julie?
Chairman.
So I don't want to belabor a point here, but I definitely think we have 2 different issues going on with an interim versus a permanent replacement. And I agree with Bill and Jarrett. I think there is a sense of urgency here, and I think that we do need to get this RFP going because it's a separate issue than the interim. And I'm glad we have someone that you feel competent to step in, but it's a separate issue. And I don't like waiting any longer. We should have had that RFP out immediately. I don't understand the timeline that's happening. So I would like to see it happen right away.
Very good. Oh, Miss.
Yeah, I just want to speak to the value of these headhunters. And I've worked for one too, Gary. And the fact that they're looking, they would go looking for the people who aren't looking. Those are often the best candidates. So if you can if we can get this help, I think it'd be valuable.
Right.
And worth the money.
Thank you. We have our marching orders.
Very good. Any other comments?
So there's a consensus on from the finance committee.
I think there is a consensus that we.
So I think if we could expedite this, because we have to go through committee process to get approval, that we can, if she can put together the proposal. We can bring it to exec and then it can go to the full board for approval. Because we have to get board approval to be able to go over with the additional costs.
May I have a question?
Yes.
So
Julie.
we don't know what the costs are right now, so we can put together the RFP, but we have to get board approval to spend over 30,000. So the RFP could happen immediately.
Yes, not a problem.
Correct.
Not a problem.
That's accurate.
And Erica, thank you very much for your report. I think we sort of segued into something else. All right, auditor's report. Excuse me, auditor's report. It's not Ms. Wegman.
No, not Ms. Wegman. Good morning. My name is Tom Laird. I'm with the Auditor's Office. The auditor's report is included in the packet and on file. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer. Otherwise, I would say reach out to Auditor Penny Wegman.
Questions? I think we have a resolution approving the February 2023 claims paid. Does somebody have that number? Is it? Oh, there it is. $4,753,566.32.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves.
Sturgis second.
Sturgis second. Any discussion?
Juby,
GBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, new business. Item A, a resolution authorizing payment of additional workers' compensation premium expense for fiscal year 2022, $16,420.
Sturgis moves.
Sturgis moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
GBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Thank you. Item B, a resolution authorizing agreement with White and Company for the demolition project at the Fabian Parkway campus and a budget adjustment to the capital fund of $383,700.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez move.
Sturgis seconds.
Sturgis second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
GBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Item C, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2022 budget for SCAAP program award of $29,423.
Leonard moves.
Lewis, second.
Leonard moves, Lewis second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
GBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And item D is a resolution authorizing the fiscal year 22 year-end allocation, budget adjustment and transfers, a total of $10,725,000, of which $5,112,500 will go to the tax freeze fund. $5,112,500 is a capital fund, $500,000 to the sheriff's vehicle fund, and $50,000 to the Comcast settlement information. Obviously these, putting it in these funds, it's still available to us for other action, but at this point, that's the place to put it. Do we have a motion?
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
Lewis, second.
Lewis, second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
GBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. E is a resolution amending budget adjustment approved for RES 23-89 of $3,096.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez, second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
GBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And F is a resolution amending resolution 11-301 create an administrative structure for the Kane County's 457B deferred compensation plan. So we're just amending the resolution, no dollar amount.
Leonard moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Yeah, second discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd be yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Thank you.
Passes.
G is a resolution authorizing the contract for the Kane County Elevator Preventive Maintenance Service for $121,320.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez moves.
Lewis, second.
Lewis, second discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd be yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And item H, a resolution authorizing agreement extension for architect, engineer, and construction management at Risk Services contract for $700,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez, Tepe. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd be yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And I is a resolution authorizing the contract extension for Kane County Mechanical, Electrical, and Civil Engineering Services for $100,000.
Lewis will move.
Lewis move.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd be yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Thank you.
Passes.
Berman, yes. J is a resolution authorizing expenditure of funds for furniture, installation, and related services for $250,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
Ruby, second.
Juby, thank you. Discussion.
Mr. Chair, where is this being, I'm sorry, I did not read this one. Where is this being installed? Or is this in general? or-
In general. Yeah. It's replacing, equipment. I can't,
Sheriff,
it was sheriff, yeah. But it was,
So just an annualized contract to,
Mr. Chairman, this is Roger from Buildings.
that's Roger.
Yeah, so this was for the offices at the State's Attorney and Public Defender's Office. We were working with them for office renovation for their staff and office spaces. So we have a cooperative with Omnia, and it's not to exceed $250,000. We don't have the final furniture recommendations for the spaces that they want to renovate, but this is a not to exceed for a blanket PO. So we can actually order against that dollar amount to furnish the office spaces if we have to do it and get it done. This also relates to the work at Third Street Courthouse. If we need to renovate or make offices available for anything from CASA, State's Attorney, Public Defender included.
that's what I'm looking for. Thanks, Roger.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just one question. On that resolution, I believe it's a 3-year contract with 2 one-year extensions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
That'd be yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
K is a resolution authorizing contract extension with Walker and Associates and Heartland Business Systems for Cisco hardware, software services, and SmartNet, $600,000.
Tepe moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd be yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And item L is a resolution amending professional services for consulting and project management for Information Technology Department of $400,000.
Lewis move.
Lewis,
Tepe seconds.
Epi, discussion? Roll call, please.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes, I just have one question. Was that 300,000 or 400,000?
400.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Item M. A resolution authorizing contract extension for low voltage data cabling and structured network cabling engineering services for $300,000.
Leonard moves.
Leonard,
Seconds.
Sturgis, Tepe second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
And is a resolution authorizing expenditure of funds for Laserfish software systems renewal with OPG-3 Incorporated for $60,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
That'd
Louis, a second.
discussion? Roll call, please.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And O is a resolution authorizing Tyler maintenance agreement for finance application at $131,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
Louis, second.
Lewis, second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. B is a resolution authorizing electronic home monitoring service agreement with Securus Monitoring.
Leonard moves.
That'd seconds.
Oh,
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment. Mr. Fonstag, you have been very busy this last month. There are a number of very needy resolutions that you just passed through that well over several $1 million. So very busy. Just a
day's work,
comment,
huh?
just an observation.
Day's work.
You're working hard.
Roll call on item P.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Resolution ratifying emergency purchase affidavit to purchase 2 vehicles for the Kane County Sheriff's Office, $143,200.
That'd moves.
Deputy moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez, second. Discussion.
I have a question.
Ms. Bates.
Ms. Bates, when we get these emergency purchase affidavits, it seems like when we're putting money into a fund for sheriffs to buy cars on a regular basis, why do we get emergency affidavit, whatever they are, emergency affidavits, purchase affidavits?
The budget was approved, but they need the approval for the purchase itself.
But they probably know that their cars are going to need, maybe this is something I should
well.
ask the sheriff, but
I think one was wrecked. It mentions that in the resolution. I think one of the vehicles being replaced was totaled.
oh, okay,
Could be an accident.
All
I
right.
could be
think it's
all kinds of
outside of their
things.
budget.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Juby.
in paragraph 4, there's a typo of, it says a price of 71, some number I don't even know, and I think it's supposed to read 71,600, and there's an extra 1 there, so it's actually reading 711,600.
Looks like an I, actually. I think it's-
Well, I don't know, but
Not
it's,
right.
it's
We
not
need to-
right. It needs to be, fixed. In paragraph 4.
So amend it with that.
Amend What was it? 171?
Well, it's
71 to
it's
70.
supposed to be $71,600 per vehicle, and that's not what it states.
There's an I after that 71, so we
Oh.
just Scribner's here.
Yeah, it's Scrivener's error.
correct
We don't,
that.
we don't have to amend it for him.
Dollar amount's the same.
Yeah.
Total out.
Well, if it's a I, the dollar amount's the same. If it's a 1, the dollar amount's not the same.
So well, it's corrected. It'll be corrected. Great.
The I or the one, the additional.
I mean, it's not a game changer, it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
So
And it should be noted.
it should be
Yes.
fixed, yes.
Very good. Discussion, further discussion, roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
R is a resolution amending resolution 23-59, approving the purchase of one replacement vehicle for the Kane County Sheriff's Office for additional amount of $9,800.
Leonard moves.
Sanchez, second.
Leonard Sanchez, discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
S is a resolution approving a contract for Progressive Energy Group LLC for consulting services for the Kane County Electric Aggregation Program for unincorporated Kane County. It's to the tune of maximum of $35,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
Leonard seconds.
Leonard, discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. T is a resolution authorizing renewal of a contract for software licenses and technical support for program year 2023, $100,000.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
Lewis, second.
Lewis, discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
U is a resolution authorizing extension of contract for financial advisor from Spirit Financial of $28,000.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moved.
Sanchez, second.
Sanchez, second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Juby,
Ruby, I.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. And V is a resolution authorizing an agreement with White and Company for architectural facilities master planning services.
Sanchez moves.
Sanchez,
Lewis, second.
Lewis, discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Leonard.
in reading over the resolution, I didn't see an exact figure or fee or a high or a low or a maximum amount. I was wondering if I could get that information before I vote.
Mr. Chairman, this is Roger again.
Roger?
Land
Yes.
Management. The original agreement for architect, engineer, and construction manager at risk authorizes the county chairman to enter into agreements up to $700,000 for these services with architects. We are requesting the statement of work, scheduling costs from White right now. This made it through admin, was placed on the agenda. We're working with White right now to get that number for the statement, but we do have authorization for the contractual work with White and Company through their general agreement for architect services.
All right, so we're good.
Resolution was earlier in the agenda, actually.
All right, Mr. Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Feinstock, you know, I understand that we're contracting with them. We have the right to go up to $700,000. But
Yes.
at this point, it sounds like we don't know what that figure will be yet. Is that correct?
We're waiting for that actual cost. It's going to be, I was hoping we would have it before this meeting, but I think we'll have it before executive committee. The total proposed price.
Well, what I would propose on is if we move it forward, that we, before it's voted on an executive, that we have a definite figure.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely, absolutely.
Let's
Okay,
take-
great.
You good?
Let's take it off consent agenda on the executive committee. so we can discuss
take
it.
it off the consent agenda for the executive,
Yeah.
so we discuss it. All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
W is a resolution acknowledging annual review of a number of procurement cards issued to the auditor's office and each of their transaction limits. And there was one card from director.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves,
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second. Discussion, roll call, please.
I do have discussion.
Right.
I'm just trying to understand this one a little bit, only because I thought the auditor had brought up the issue of procurement cards last year. So are these cards just for her office, just for that office? Or are these procurement cards across the county?
One for her individually.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello.
Each department's office is bringing forward their own to be approved by their standing committee and then the finance committee. That's what was in last year's procurement procedures that were adopted. So we're just trying to be in compliance with that. We're getting it started. So you'll be seeing these coming through in the next couple months from the committees. The purchasing department sent out a list of everybody, all the cards, and people were asked to, basically use the framework for their officer department and include their people, and purchasing will be making sure that everyone brings this forward. And
Okay.
it's just a compliance matter.
I'm being very candid. I don't remember the full issue on this, but I just remember being an issue that she had reached out to several of us on. So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what this is and not rubber stamping this through. And it's not fair to ask you, she's not here. So I will vote yes for this, but at executive, between now and exec, I would need a little bit of conversation.
Mr. Leonard has.
Mr. Chairman, just to give Mr. Surges some clarity
You
on
let
that.
them know. I'll be right back.
This is strictly for Ms. Wegman. The most she can spend in any one purchase is $1,000 and an annual amount of 10,000. So it's one card.
So then what I'm understanding is we'll be seeing this type of request coming from each and got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Correct. For example, we have one card. The board has a single card.
I am also online if you have questions for me.
Oh, howdy, ma'am. Am I accurate in this was part of the discussions last year that you had some concern with?
So this is part of the new, or part of the financial policy, the procurement policy that every year the county board is required to review all procurement cards and their limits.
Okay. Didn't really answer my question, but I think I'm okay moving this forward.
And I'm sorry, I may have missed part of your question as I was trying to jump on the Zoom off of YouTube.
No, that's right. Got it.
Any other discussion? Bill?
The very last page of the agenda has the example for finance of what. Larry, you can go to the last 267.
Any other discussion? Got a roll call, please.
Juby,
Aye.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
That'd yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Passes.
Is a resolution authorizing the number of procurement cards issued to the finance department and each of their transaction limits, and there were two.
Leonard moves.
Leonard moves,
Same.
Sanchez seconds.
Sanchez second. Discussion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Sanchez.
Sanchez here. I just wanted to mention to Cliff, also realize these are just acknowledged, like the first one was just an acknowledgement. So it's not even going to another committee, and I believe that's the same for this one.
Yes.
It's consent from this committee. It's not going any higher than this.
I mean, Jared, my point was, there was some consternation with this last year. And I'm just making sure that
Yeah.
it was addressed. That's all.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Juby,
BBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. That is our new business. Under old business, we had a resolution that was tabled last month. And it was a resolution was authorizing King County participation in the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership by King County Board Chair Farouk, with funding from 400 Economic Development. And Mr. Von Kirchhoff is here to speak on it.
Good morning, Mark Van Kirkhoff, King County Development Department, and my apologies, I was not available last month to answer questions. This committee tabled this resolution last month. It was the topic of the Committee of the Whole the following week, so I hope we answered most of the questions that you have, but I'm here to answer any additional ones. I also have copies of the resolution if you want a paper copy, since it wasn't in your agenda, and I think Blair's also could be prepared to pull up last month's agenda if you wanted to see it at all. But I'm happy to answer any questions. I also have the portion of the presentation from the Committee of the Whole to help illustrate any questions you might have.
Julie.
I'm the one who tabled it and actually postponed it. But I got all my questions answered when they were here, so I have no questions. I'm content to move forward with the vote on it.
Great, thank you.
Very good. I think the cost is what, 35,000?
50,
13,000?
I think.
47. It was postponed?
Any other
I can't
discussion?
remember.
Well, I asked to postpone it. They
You know,
tabled it.
just one, Mr. Chairman, I was wondering, with respect to this arrangement with the Collar counties, have we seen benefit in the past with this collaboration?
Yeah, in fact, even in advance of this resolution, which authorizes the county board chairman to sign the agreement that the other 7 counties, 6 counties in the city of Chicago are agreeing to, and authorizing our first annual amount of $54,706, I think, which is our pro rata share for the regional effort. We're already receiving weekly benefit in terms of leads that are being generated, communication from World Business Chicago, who's providing these services to county staff, identifying companies that are up and coming or sharing leads with the counties as companies look to relocate into the Chicagoland area or need to grow within the Chicagoland area. They don't necessarily look at county lines. They're looking for the best location. So working together is a huge advantage. That's already happening. In addition, last week, Madam Chairman, it's working hard to get rid of the bridge toll and to help make our case, where we'll utilize World Business Chicago research team to do a comprehensive look at the Long Meadow Parkway Bridge corridor in terms of economic data, number of small businesses, WMBEs, whole host of things that we couldn't generate on our own. So we're already receiving benefit, and they're very responsive.
The comment that I received from the governor's finance director was this was the best proposal he has ever seen. So, and that was a great help getting that data.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
We need a.
Do we have a?
Actually, no, I'd move to take it off the table for consideration. I believe that is the proper step. Once it was tabled.
Second.
Yeah.
And then now I believe we can vote on it. Is that?
So this takes it off the table? That,
But we have to make a, don't
We
we have
have
to
to-
vote to take? it
Is
off the
Mr.
table?
Shepard online?
Yeah, we vote to take it off the
Let's take
table,
it off the
right?
table
And then
first,
we
then we
vote
can
on
vote
on the motion.
so 2 votes.
Two votes.
Please. Take it off the table.
It's off the table.
I'm sorry, Juby,
BBI.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Yes.
Pepe,
Pepe, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes. Now we need a motion to approve the
The resolution.
Sanchez
resolution.
moves.
Give me a second.
Do we have, who Sanchez moved. Second discussion. Very good. Roll call, please.
Juby,
aye.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
Steffi, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, no.
Leonard, no. Berman,
Berman, yes.
passes.
Good. Look like we need unanimous approval of place our reports on file.
Sanchez asked for unanimous consent to replace reports on file.
Anyone in opposition? Therefore, our reports will be placed on file. Committee chairman's comments. I think the only comment I had was our need for an executive director of finance, and we're actively working on that, so that's good. I have no need for an executive session to my knowledge. And I guess we'd have adjournment.
Sanchez so moves.
Sanchez moves.
Leonard seconds.
100 seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Got to do it all over again.
Meeting, sir.
Just see how it's done.
I was pointing to the clock, but let me read.